makes you wanna go. Na 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 na. Hey,
Love it.
hey, what's up? What's up?
Hey, hey, it's a good day in the neighborhood. I
Yes,
love the
ma'am. Yes,
music
ma'am.
every time that vibe.
It makes you wanna go, doesn't it?
Yep, let's go.
Yes, 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 yes. Good to see you today. Good to
Yeah,
see
good,
you
good
today.
to see you too.
Yes. Everybody, I want to say it's good to see you watching us today on Gab with Goldnbronze. We are glad that you decided to stop in to see what we're gabbing about today. We have all kind of interesting things every single day, so tune in Monday through Friday, same day, same time. We also want to let you know that we are sponsors of this very good domestic nonprofit. It's a 501c3 called Golden Swan Cadre, which advocates against domestic violence towards women. But guess what? We also advocate for some good things like women's health, women's mental health, self care, and mindfulness. We collaborate with domestic violence centers in Texas with their clients once they are discharged or released from their centers. Once they are released, they refer them to us and we adopt 4 families a year for 12 consecutive months. Throughout that adoption, we adopt a room. And when we adopt a room, we will ask them which room would they like for us to furnish or decor one room because we are partially funded and our pockets are not that deep just yet. We eventually hope to furnish a whole apartment, but right now we furnish one room and we give them the choice of what that room is and the decor. And we also try to supply some of their other needs list. In our collaboration with the domestic violence centers, they also will ask us to fulfill some of their needs list. And as I mentioned, we're partially funded, so we dig deep within our own pockets and we will help them with things like underwear for women, bras and panties, and things for kids, and socks and shoes and hair care products, and whatever their needs is. Sheets, we've done that, sheets and towels, and things like that. Whatever they're asking for, we try to fulfill that if it's within our capacity to do so. But we need your help in order to be able to do more of that on a bigger scale. So we'll accept anything that you want to donate to us. We appreciate that. And later on in the show, we will tell you how you can do that. Right now, we decided to talk about empty nesters. What are empty nesters? Empty nesters are parents like us whose children have grown up and moved out of the family home. Either they've gone off to college or gotten married or just gotten their own places, leaving their parents with an empty nest. This typically happens when children, like I said, go to college or start their career or just want to live independently. The term often refers to parents in their middle age or older, but not. I'm going to retract that. It happens much younger. Sometimes people are in their 40s because they started having children at 17, 18, 19, or 20. And they can simply be 40 with a 20-year-old. So they could become an empty nester at that time, or they have spent years focused on just raising their children, and now they're adjusting to a quieter household. And for many, the empty nest stage can bring mixed emotions, which is what happened to me. Feelings of loss or loneliness, as well as opportunities for personal growth. Sometimes people take that time to the opportunity to travel or rekindle relationships with other people. Some may embrace the newfound freedom, like, yay, let's go. While others might find it challenging to adapt to the change in their day to day lives. And I will say that when I mentioned about just being lost and feelings of loneliness, at the time I became an empty nester at 46 ish, somewhere around there. My kids were going off to college, and I had spent my life with involved with my kids and my husband at the time. And so my life consisted of going to work, going to church, coming home, taking them to church, to youth, to choir, to whatever youth activities, They were involved in sports, to track meet, to basketball. They played instrumental musics, to music lessons, to piano, to drum. One was in the band, to band sessions. And then when they were gone, like, what do I do now? I have no husbands and no children. And I'm here all alone. And I felt a sense of loneliness and emptiness. So I reached back into my vault and I thought, what would I like to do with my life right now? And I'm not going to holler, woe is me. I went back to school and did something that I wanted to do when I was 17 years old, but was not encouraged by my parents to do it at the time. And I became a realtor. And that realtor job helped me level up my life. Trust me. I continued to be a nurse, but I also was a part-time realtor. I loved it. It was something I wanted to do from 17 or 18 and never did it until now, 46. I'm doing it and enjoyed every minute of it. I don't regret 1 minute of it, but I fell into that loneliness category. Empty. What do I do with my life? I
Yeah.
made my life my children's life. What about
Yeah.
you, Michi?
Well, I'm relating to you in the sense that, well, I was that younger mom whose children left. I was probably in my early 40s, I think, when they left. But we pour so much into our children. That is our responsibility,
Mhm.
getting them to school, making sure their school closed. Do you have your lunch? Do you have your lunch money? Oh, you have football after school? Okay, I'll pick you up at this time. Parent teacher conferences. What did you get your report card? Oh, let's do better than that. All of that.
Homework. Let me help you with your algebra.
Homework. Right,
Yes.
right. Or even from the time they were babies. You had
Yes.
them since they were infants. When they came
Yes.
out of your body, you had these children and that's your daily routine every day. Doing something with your children. It's all about them.
Yes.
But you know what? We probably need that.
All right. We'll be right back. We're back. We're back. Okay, Mickey G, continue with what you were saying.
Well, what I was saying is that you've had these children their whole lives, sometimes 18, sometimes 20 years, and that's all you do. Of course, you have your job and all that, but your focus is largely on your children and raising them. And when mine went, I said, I think my oldest, I don't know if my oldest left first. My youngest daughter got married right out of high school. And so her sister got married not long after that, but she's older. So they started leaving pretty young. And then my sons went into the military at 18. So my empty nest situation happened pretty early. And before the last one left, we became foster parents. And so once that younger one left, then we had foster children. And so that kind of kept our nest full for a while. And then eventually there was no one there. And it was good. Now, when we saw our first daughter go to college. We saw her drive off. We were in the front yard watching her. Bye, and both of us were crying in the front yard. Bye. And she was the first one, I guess, first or second one to go. But when it was all over, listen, he and I slept downstairs. We put on an air mattress. We walked around however we wanted to. Everybody was gone. It was fun. It was
Yeah.
fun. We were sad at some points, but it was fun for
Yes.
us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, a lot of people with fewer family obligations, many nesters take the opportunity to explore new places, whether through vacations, extended trips, or even international living. Now, I can say I did do that. I'm going to say it was like 10 years later after becoming an empty nester, because as I mentioned previously, I went back and became a realtor.
Right.
So then I spent the next 10 years grinding, doing that. And I needed to do that because I had to dig myself out of some holes
Yeah.
and get myself situated. The very thing that we are doing with Golden Swan, helping ladies with their single family journeys, becoming household uh, income, handling the household.
Right.
I'm fumbling for words. I did that alone. That birth Golden Swan cadre, the things that I had to go through,
Right.
um, finding myself single, is what we try to help other women not have to go through now, unless they want to. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? We just try to
Exactly.
make life a little easier. But 10 years later, I started traveling internationally and domestically and doing those things that most empty nesters do um, earlier than when I started. So I'm a little late doing everything in life, really. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But I like the fact that you reinvented yourself. You started doing something you wanted to do when you were a little girl. You didn't
Yes.
forget. You didn't forget your dream. And once you finished your what you had to do, you got to do what you wanted to do. When I say
Exactly.
had to do, I mean raising the children because you still
Yes.
had to work as a nurse. But you
Yes.
got to do what you wanted to do, and I love that because this is
Thank you.
reinventing yourself again in the light of being empty nester. You didn't go
Yes.
downhill and say, "Woe is me."
No.
Now what do I do? You had a plan as to go back and get that education to be a realtor, and I thought that's pretty admirable.
Yes, I was forever calling my kids at college, like every day. But I did sit down and say, now what do I do? It wasn't woe is me. You're exactly
Right.
right, because I don't have that kind of demeanor.
Mindset.
But I sat down and thought, now what do I do? I don't have a husband. I don't have any children. It's just me in this house. So what do I want to do? Went back into my memory. I've always wanted to do this. I still do. So
Mhm.
you're right, Mickey. I reinvented myself in a time of need,
Right.
in a time of need. And I was thirsty for it at the same time. It was a lifelong dream, like you said. And I don't regret it.
Yeah, yeah. Because you still love it. You're still
I
doing
still
it. You
love
still
it and
love
still
it.
doing it. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
20 years later, I've been
yeah.
doing it for 20 years now.
Yes. And
Yes.
you're only 45. I
I know, right?
no, imagine that.
That's right, girl.
Mhm. But yeah, I love that the fact that you had that attitude because some people get very depressed. They don't really know what to do with their life. The only purpose was to be a parent. Their that filled their whole life. And so when their children go, they didn't have a plan as to what they would do when their babies
Right.
left the nest. For me, they were gradually leaving. So they didn't all, it's not like I had one child and when they left, I was by myself. They kind of left incrementally, and so that kind of made it a little easy. However, when they all left, we changed one of the bedrooms into an office. We started painting the other ones other colors, and we had the green room, the gold room, the blue room. We
The
just made it
garden.
right. We made it our own home, and so we made it our own. And so when family would come or the kids would come back, a lot of times they go back to the room that they lived in and come stay. And so it was a it was a good experience being an empty nester. Although them being away, we missed them. We definitely
Yes.
missed them, but we stayed in touch with them. And when my sons went off to Iraq and Kuwait and all that, that was another part of empty nesting. Your child is so far away, and you're in war. That's another pull on your heartstrings. But otherwise, it was a pretty good experience.
I know, because I didn't know your sons went to Iraq. And where else did you say? Kuwait?
One went to Kuwait and one went to Iraq
Oh,
during
wow.
the war. Yeah, so they're Iraqi war vets.
Well,
Yeah,
tell them I said thank you for their service.
I will certainly do that. I'll certainly do
Well, also, some people rekindle relationships now that they have more time on their hands.
that.
They often focus on reconnecting with their spouse or partner, like you and your husband did. You had a ball just changing colors in the rooms and
Yeah.
gardening and what we gonna do today? Okay, let's go fishing. Whatever.
Yeah.
Rediscovering interests that you shared, before children, which strengthen your bond.
Right.
And sometimes people out if they don't have a spouse, they may rekindle relationships with girlfriends that they went to high school with or guy friends that they went to high school with, like just checking in after 20 years, you
Yeah.
know. And I
Yeah.
tell you, I tried that one time. It didn't go so well for me. Um, it was a person that I was really close to when I was in nursing school in a whole different state. And we went our separate ways, and neither person tried to reach the other. but I'm gonna finish this story when I come back. It's about rekindling relationships.
All
We'll
right.
be right back. All right, all right. We are back. We are back. So what happened is I reached out to this person that we went our separate ways after I finished nursing school, and she was in Kansas and I was in California because after I finished nursing school, I went back to California. And years passed. I always thought about her and her husband, but I didn't know how to reach them. And years passed and years passed, and I finally see her on Facebook. And I'm an empty nester. And so I reached out to her on Facebook, and she was actually angry at me for not trying to find her sooner.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, that can work both ways.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't know where you were. I wasn't on the whole time I was married, I was not on social media. Okay.
Right.
And so I explained I wasn't on social media. Your name just popped up as somebody you might know. And I think if you're friends with somebody, their friends might pop up as someone that you might know. And
Right.
I reached out to her and she was very nasty. And I'm just like, okay, I just thought I'd say hello. Well, she had a change of heart. So she inboxed me back a week later and apologized for the way that she was with me when I reached out to her. And to this day, we are in communication again. But when people do that to me, I'm like, okay, my mind is thinking in the same 10, 15 years, I don't remember you trying to reach me either.
Yeah.
you
Right.
know, so but
Right.
you're mad at me. Okay, you know. But she thought about it, and so we now communicate. But I took that opportunity. That was one person, and there were some others that female friends that I knew before I was married, that I rekindled those relationships with after I became an empty nester. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that is a good thing that you can do things. You can reach out to people you haven't seen in a long time, reconnect with family members. When you're so focused on raising your children, I don't have time, sis. I don't have time, brother. I don't have time, cousin. You can go to these family reunions. You can take trips. So you have options.
Right.
And on the couple side, I'll go to that for a second. Sometimes when you're a couple and all you talk about are your children, that's what you
Yes.
have in common. Well, Ralph did this and he came home and he had a black eye, or Sarah did this and that, just some fictitious name. And Sarah, she had bad grades, her teacher called, or this one's getting an award. We need to go to the assembly. So everything is all consuming about your children. So once they're all gone, what did we talk about?
Right.
You're getting to know each other again, and you're not getting to know each other as parents or children, but getting to know each other as partners. So that's
Right.
another part to empty nesting for couples. Just trying to get to know each other. And I think a person who's by themselves probably gets to know themselves again. I would imagine, right?
Yeah, you rediscover things that you used to like to do when it was just you, but you
Yeah.
considered everybody else before you. So now you have an opportunity to go back and do those things that you always liked to do before when it was just you before. Yeah, and the thing also about rekindling relationships with people is you do get to talk about your kids. That was one of the things that I asked her is how are your boys? I won't call their names off. One died,
Mm,
and I was heartbroken
right.
about that.
Wow.
And the other she has is surviving, and they're very. I mean, they're close. Her and her son that survived or is still living,
Right.
they're very close. But we got to talk about when I knew her. I didn't even have kids. I was one of those that had children later in life. So then I got to tell her, well, guess what? I had two kids too. And
Yeah.
there you had two boys, I had two girls,
Right.
and share that information. And so we enjoy doing that, and not only that, I got a chance to talk to her son, because he was like knee high to a snail when the last time I saw her. But now, he's a grown Christian man
Yeah.
and talks a lot about religion. We talk about that a lot too. So that's the good thing about rekindling old friendships, shall I say? You
Yeah.
know, when you
Yeah.
go back and find people. I even sit back, Nikki, and try to think of friends that I had that I've forgotten their names. Have you ever
Yeah.
done that? You can remember
Yeah.
the relationship but can't remember the name?
Actually, I remember their names because I have this odd memory, but I remember their names and sometimes they don't remember me. Say,
Yes.
your face looks familiar. Oh, I can't remember your name. Because,
Yes.
not saying I haven't aged, but my face is pretty much like it was then. It didn't change that much. So
Yes.
I have reached back to some people I knew in elementary school.
Yes.
I see them on Facebook. There's such and such, or their name will come across my mind. Are they on Facebook? Are they on Instagram? And so I'll just look for them, that way. But it's nice to go back and grab old friendships when they were
It's
good.
good that you do that memory and face name recognition because for me, out of sight, out of mind. I mean, if you're not in my life, I tend to forget who you are, which is not a good thing. But if it's just I met you once or twice, more than likely I'm not going to remember
Oh
you, you know, or if I went to school with you, but we didn't talk, more than
yeah,
likely I won't remember you. I've had people say, "You don't remember me? I can't believe you don't remember me." And I'm sitting there thinking, well, if we didn't have a relationship, we just
yeah,
lived in the same city or went to the same school, more than likely, I won't remember who they
yeah,
are. But it's
yeah,
good that you have that name to face recognition
yeah.
thing going on.
A lot of them I do remember from school. I don't know really why. I just, it's not like we ran together or anything. There might have been significant things like this little boy. I'll just tell you this quick story. This little boy in my school hit me in the head with a rock. I was in third grade. I was walking after school care. He hit me in my head and I had to get 3 stitches, which cost
Oh
my
my
parents
God.
15 whole dollars back then. So
15 whole big old
50
dollars.
at 3 stitches, so $5 a stitch.
Oh,
And
wow.
we sat on with their parents and talked about who's going to pay this bill, etc. Do you know I saw this man probably 30 something years after he remembered me. I was at this convenience store, this grocery store in town. I had moved away and I came back. He said, "Are you?" And I said, "Wait a minute." He said, "Yeah." He said, "Listen, I want to apologize to you for hitting you all those
Oh, wow, that's
years."
awesome.
I said,
All
"Oh,
those
thank
years
you."
later.
Yeah, we were grown. My children, we were probably in our 30s at that point. And when I was hit, I was 8. So for him to remember me, he remembered my face and said, "Aren't you hurt?" "I'm so sorry I hit you with that rock. I'm sorry. That was a bad thing to do."
He probably wanted to say that for years. But
Yeah.
everybody, we are going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Okay.
All right, all right. We are back. We are back. Well, Mickey, one of the other things that people do when they become empty nester is they may revisit old hobbies or develop new ones, such as gardening, like you did, you know, vegetable gardens, planting flowers, cooking. That's one that I took on, or learning musical instruments. Many take up activities they didn't have time for during raising their children. So even though when I was raising my children, I cooked every single day. I used to come in from the hospital, get out of my, uniform and scrubs, shower, put my purse down, and go straight to the kitchen and cook. And because I did that, I developed this love for just throwing things together, seeing what I could stir up, call it my first name surprise. Or I gave everything a name that I threw up, threw together. And in doing that, I developed a skill with, I would say I'm a chef. No, unless you can call yourself a chef without going to school. Yeah, I'm a chef because I can cook some pretty good dishes, but I just call myself a cook.
Yeah.
I'm not a sous cook or anything like that,
Yeah.
but sous chef.
Yeah.
But I always wonder if people can call themselves chefs just because they like to cook. Because I see some people on social media referring to themselves as chefs. And when I asked if they went to culinary arts school, whatever, they're like, no, I just love to cook. And I'm thinking, well, then I must be a chef too.
Yeah. Well, I think some of them work under a chef. They work at a restaurant and they learn under a chef. So maybe, and then they become the sous chef and they learn under that instead of going to culinary school.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how some of them have become chefs without
Chefs.
going to school. I have
Yeah.
a friend whose husband is now calling himself chef, the other name, and he's been cooking for the community, and he's a very good cook. I went to their first cook off. Of course, we're going into cooking now, but
Yeah.
he calls
That's
himself
okay.
chef, what his name is, and so I said, okay, you cook very well. I'll take it. I won't dispute it.
Yeah,
But
I think people can do that, and that might be a whole nother show.
yeah,
That we may talk about. But
yeah.
that was what I did. I developed a YouTube cooking channel.
Mhm,
Anybody wants to see it? It's DBAS, Divas Cooking, Travel and Fun. And I just get in there and throw stuff together. And
okay.
I enjoy it. And what makes me feel even better, this hobby that I have cooking, is when I serve it to someone and they tell me how delicious it is. I really enjoy that.
Yeah, yeah. That's the reward of
Yes,
cooking a good meal and having people enjoy it.
yes,
I'm relating to you on the cooking thing. I
yes,
would make something out of nothing,
yes,
absolutely nothing, because at that time we didn't have a lot of money when my
yes,
children were younger, and at one point I became single, divorced in that marriage, and I
yes.
had to take care of these children on a little bit of money. I mean, I was the master of putting things together.
I
Ooh,
was too, Vicky G.
yeah, yeah. I think that might be a trait of a mom who can cook, because not all moms can cook, but a
Right,
mom who can cook and who can be really creative in our head when you have to be. But when you become an empty nester, you cook for one or two. You're
right,
not cooking for them, then you start cooking for yourself or going out to eat, because you don't have to cook at that point unless you just want to.
right. And I do because I like to, but you know what?
Mm.
I will think of different herbs and spices that I might think tastes good in something that I never tried before, and I'll
Yeah.
put that off in it to see if it tastes. Now I've done it and absolutely had to throw it in the garbage disposal, but I've also done it when this is good and
Yeah.
remember to do it again from then on. Yes.
That
So
reminds.
hobbies and passions. What are your passions and hobbies that you picked up during empty nesting?
I don't know. I think mostly traveling. And of course, we did have a big garden in our yard. We grew all kinds of food: watermelon, squash, cucumber. We had a pear tree in our backyard, peach tree, nectarine tree. So, taking care of those kinds of things and traveling was primarily what we did. And when our children moved away, some of them, we would travel to go see them, or we take a road trip, or we go on a cruise or something like that. So I think primarily we went to travel.
Well, I knew that you had that garden, and I told you that I wanted one, and I still intend, God willing,
Yeah,
to learn how to plant a garden. I have not a clue on where to start or what to do,
yeah,
but I want those trough things that you put above the ground. And
right.
when my ex was alive and we were married, we had a garden, but it was his garden. He maintained it. I'm just saying I didn't know the first thing about it. I enjoyed cooking the food, the tomatoes and stuff like that, but he had it actually in the ground,
Right.
and I didn't want that kind again. The bugs would kind of eat at it sometimes, and different things. Squirrels would
Yeah.
come and get it, and so I just kind of want some sort of above the ground trough, maybe with some netting over it. Maybe since we're talking about hobbies and passions, you can give me some ideas about how to do that when you come
Sure.
to visit me. I'm inviting you to my house. How about that?
I'm coming.
All
I'm
right.
coming. And I did have a raised garden bed. I like them better than having them on the ground, because you have to pull grass and weeds out of them. But when you have them on a raised garden bed, you don't have to worry about mowing around them and grass and weeds and things like that as much. And then you don't have to bend all down in your garden, digging stuff and crawling around in dirt, things like that,
Mhm.
unless that's something people want to do. That's fine.
Okay, well, remind me to show you the area.
Okay.
Excuse
Okay.
me.
And I'll
The
show you
area in my backyard that I want to do that in.
the raised bed garden that actually my late ex-husband and I built one out of
Mhm,
cedar,
mhm.
but the soil was so heavy it was breaking it down.
Oh,
But
wow.
you can buy one in another place, and I'll tell you how to buy one
All
when I
right.
get.
I look forward to that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we talked about this already. Maybe you will elaborate on it, but career changes. And as I said, I did, some empty nesters return back to the workforce, which I was already in it. I just did a second um, career. I learned how to be a realtor. But some people, maybe like yourself, return back to the workforce after being home for many years, or they take on new professional challenges, like in my case with the real estate, or they switch careers altogether and do something differently. But
Yeah.
we'll finish talking about this when we come right back.
All right.
All right, all right. So instead of just taking on a dual career, some people switch careers altogether. And others may choose to give back by volunteering with organizations like Golden Swan Cadre, Blue Cross and Blue Shield, uh, what is it? The Heart Association, Red Cross. There's all kind of different places where you can volunteer your services with local organizations, charities, or causes that matter to you. You know, we love volunteers. We can use them all the time. But tell me, what kind of things did you do as far as career changes or volunteering when you became an empty nester?
Well, as I stated, when my youngest left, we had this big house and it was empty. So we decided, let's take on foster children. And so we were foster parents for 5 years with therapeutic foster children.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and two of them are still in our lives. It's a brother and a sister, and the daughter. I call her my daughter and son because we integrated them into our family. They call my
Yes.
parents Nana and Papa and all that stuff. And she has two children, which I call my grandchildren. So it was rewarding for them, rewarding for us, And so we bought them a pool. They enjoyed playing in the pool. We took a couple of them, put them in boxing because to get that little extra energy out, we put
Yes.
them in private school. We just made them like our children and we just loved them. So that gave us some place to put our love and our time. And so it was beneficial to both. So that was the next thing that I did.
Okay, that's really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you do any extra volunteering? I forgot to mention, I used to volunteer with this other organization before I started my own. And I actually did that for about 10 years. And that organization develops and fosters health programs, education programs, employment programs, recreational programs, arts and humanity programs to underprivileged children. And so I was at the local, regional level in that organization for 10 years. And that's kind of where I learned how to run a nonprofit organization. The whole time I was in it, I was all the way in it, but I used to always tell the other ladies, I want to start one that's anti or advocating against domestic violence, but also paying attention to women's empowerment and women's health issues and things like that. And so one day I just said, it's time. Well, God said it's time for you to do
Yeah.
it. And so that's what I did in with a lot of my spare time, Mickey,
Right.
um, before starting Golden Swan Cadre. Yeah,
Wow.
I
I'm,
volunteered.
I'm, I'm so glad you did too. It's a wonderful organization to be part of.
Mhm.
As for me, what I did, I mostly worked in the church and I was learning how to be a leader because the church I was raised in, no, there were only a select few who could really be leaders in that church. So during that time, I took a class where I earned my minister's license. And
Mhm.
so I began to have small groups like cell groups in my home. In our home, every week I would meet with ladies and mentor them. I did that for 10 years. And that was very rewarding to pour into them and create a culture of women who were bonded together. I told them whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and my house is Vegas. So we're going to bond together and cover each other as sisters. We're not going to go against each other. We're not going to talk about each other's business to other people. I dare not hear that anywhere around the church. And so that's what I gave a lot of my time to, is mentoring those women. And it was such a blessing for the time that we were together.
That's awesome. Did you use that minister's license for any other purpose? I mean, that's a good purpose, developing women, women's empowerment organization, empowering them to feel a sense of sisterhood and to, women helping women, kind of as our mantra as well. But did you minister at all? Did you do that?
Well, I didn't preach, over the sacred desk, but I used all the information, the knowledge that I gained from that, and then we had prerequisite classes that led up to that. If you didn't take those prerequisite classes, you couldn't take ministers in training. That was the name of the
Yeah.
class. And so I all my life lessons, my lessons in ministry, my lessons in church, how to handle people, how to help shape and encourage people. Encouragement is probably part of my makeup anyway. And so it just fit me perfectly to be able to do that. But I didn't use my license formally for anything like weddings or funerals, anything like that.
Yeah. Can you now? Can you marry people, or do you have to get those reactivated or renewed just like a nursing license or
You
something?
do. And I let mine lapse because I figured I didn't really need that to do what I was doing. And
Mhm.
so I let that go, but I kept the ministry in my heart to helping and encouraging people around me. So I didn't really need it for that. I had the knowledge.
Okay. Well, that's awesome, awesome, awesome sauce, as they say.
Thanks.
One of the other things that empty nesters do, and I did this as well, still do it today, is they focus a lot on health and fitness. Um, Getting their diets appropriate, learning how to eat healthy, not for the sake of losing weight, but for the sake of being healthy, to keep that heart from being clogged, those arteries from causing heart attacks. And if they smoke, they try to stop smoking. And if they have been drinking in their youth, a lot of them will try to stop drinking or do that in moderation, walking in the neighborhood more often, even in walking groups with other, empty nesters, and pickleball and things like that that keep their blood flowing and energy moving. They take this opportunity as an empty nester to do that. Pick up golfing for health reasons because you walk a lot in doing sports and activities like that. So that's very common as well for empty nesters to do. And one of the things that I engage in then and now, yes, I think I was more active then than since I relocated, but I have found the gym and started going every now and then. But I want to get back to my routine,
Yeah.
which was 3 times a week.
Yeah. Yeah. I would
Yeah.
love to do that again too. And you said my jam, pickleball. I used to
Yes.
love to hit that ball. I take my aggressions out on that ball. And the fact that I can keep it going in the air, that was
Yeah.
just so fun. I'd run all over that court and
Yeah.
I'd tear pickleball up. So when
I
you
don't know
said,
how to play it, but I've been interested in learning that as well. It
yeah,
seems to be, if it was popular once before, it seems to be coming back into popularity.
yeah, it's kind of like you have a net and you have this paddle, but then you have this ball that has holes in it. And it kind of reminds you of a badminton birdie because it sails through the air. It's light. This is a lot of fun. This is
Instead of over a table, it's over
Yeah,
a net.
over a net.
Oh yeah, I
Hmm.
could do that.
Yeah,
Then that sounds
yeah,
like a lot of fun.
yeah. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, everybody, I'm going to learn how to play pickleball and get back into my exercise routine. I just want to say that I appreciate each one of you for stopping by to see what we're gabbing about today. We talk about all kinds of different things. We do touch on domestic violence, women's health issues, including mental health, healthcare, mindfulness, but we do some fun stuff like talk about empty nesting and all kind of different things. So just stop back by tomorrow and see what we're talking about. I'm sure you'll find it very interesting. And I thank you for stopping by today. I'm going to let Mickey G wrap us up.
All right, let's wrap. I enjoyed this conversation today.
Yeah.
I learned some things about you. You probably learned some things about me. And I hope our
Yes.
audience enjoyed learning some things about us and even maybe looking
Yes.
into their empty nester journey.
Yes.
So we want to make sure that you know you can catch Gab with Golden Bronze Monday through Friday on the DuPont TV network, brought to you by Village Global Network TV at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 noon Central Standard Time, 11 a.m. Mountain Time, and 10 a.m. Pacific Time. Be sure to tune in, and we look forward to seeing you there. Okay, now a little housekeeping. At the top of the show, Golden Bronze indicated to you that we sponsor Golden Swan Cadre. So, in order to donate, I'm going to tell you the ways that you can do that. So, if you're using Chime, enter $ Golden Swan Cadre. The G, S, and C are all uppercase. If you use PayPal, enter the Golden Swan Cadre at gmail.com. You may also go to our website, www.goldenswancadre.com. For social media, go to Instagram, visit charity section, and find the official _ Golden Swan Cadre. On Facebook, you also visit the charity section and find Golden Swan Cadre. Join us in making a positive impact today for this worthy cause and these worthy women. And we thank you in advance.
We thank you. Come back tomorrow. Peace out.